Hey guys, welcome to Punky's World. This is a genealogy video. I've decided to concentrate on military records. We'll also talk a little bit about work records as well. Show you what you get in a typical military record. This is my grandfather Wilson's. Depending on the person, you may get more. Like this is my grandfather Wilson's. It's small. His brother, however, I'll show you his. Where is Uncle James? There we go. Where's Uncle James here? Is it? Nope, that's Tom's Gates. Sorry, guys. I know I relabeled these. Here it is. Okay, his is bigger. So I'll show you what happens. His is much bigger. It doesn't look like it, but it actually is much bigger. I think there was even more of it than this. But anyway, let's talk about what you get. Now, you fill out a form, and you can ask for a record. But if you only ask for a DD-14, then that's what you're going to get. A discharge paper. What I have here is a little bit more than that. Okay, this is his discharge, but it also has his diagnosis. Oh, there are some hospital records here as well as Grandpa's draft registrations and all of that. I also, by the way, have my father's draft card, which I will show you what an average draft card from the early 1960s would look like. Sorry guys, I'm coming. Yeah, it is. Okay. Sorry. Here it is, right here. And that's the back of it. The back of it has the county and where he signed up, which would be the Grafton Town Hall. He even had a selective service number. He was in Manchog. He was born April 9th, 1944. And he signed up on the 9th of April, 1962 at the age of 18, which was required. Okay, blue eyes, dark brown hair, 5 feet 10 inches, 150 pounds. He actually gave it to me around the time he turned, I don't know, late 60s, maybe 70. He said, well, it's not like I'm going to get drafted. Well, he couldn't get drafted anyway because he had a club foot. So he was what's the word? He wasn't allowed to serve, basically. And my friend actually laminated it for me because they're starting to fall apart. This card is how many years old? Let's see. "51 years old." This is a 51-year-old draft card. So my friend was nice enough to laminate it for me. Okay, this is my mother's birth certificate. There's nothing on it. It's starting to come delaminated. But this is all she was allowed to have for the longest time. She got this, came in 2 days after her wedding, 8/9/72. Oh no, a year before her wedding, I'm sorry. She got married in 73. July 23rd, 1954, and it was registered July 30th, 1954. That's literally all it says, and she was born in Lewiston. This is my social security card and my birth card, which I'm not showing because they have more information on them, and I am alive. Now they have more information on them. They have my parents' names, my date of birth, which everyone knows is 4 August 1974. I was born in Worcester. This card was given out, the date of the record was October 19th, and this card was given out in 1979 when I started school. And that's my social security card. And that's something, you know, they said a lot about the boy in the box. Well, he didn't have a social security card. No duff. He wouldn't have had a social security card until he started working back then. By the 1970s, you had to have a social security card when you started school. By the age of 5, when you started school. I'll cover my social security number, but that's mine, right there. And which was done in 1979 when I started school. So this little, I don't remember where I got this little wallet thing, but I have had my social security number and birth certificate in it for more years than I can count. But anyway, this is Dr. O'Connor's miserable handwriting. Paul O'Connor. Okay, why is this a discharge summary? And then at the very bottom, condition, treatment, final. Something on discharge. Oh, final diagnosis on discharge and prognosis. It reads, expired 6:40 a.m. 9/20/73. Okay. So all this other stuff means absolutely nothing, right, Dr. O'Connor? Because he's dead. Seriously, that's what it says. So I don't know what any of this says, but he was brought in on 9/19. He was having a heart attack, basically. I'll have to. That's from Dr. O'Connor. So those 2 pages are that. But this, I'm going to show you this. This is a DD-14. This is a discharge notice, I think. Nope, this is an application for death pension. Okay. Pramila Quinn, divorced, March 1935, New Haven, Connecticut, married 8/15/25, Married 4/5/41, Sutton, Mass. To Angelina Hemingway. And this is my grandmother applying for. Are you claiming that the cause of death was due to service? No. That's his service number. My grandmother got very little, but most of the widows back then did. It's kind of a joke, you know. I've seen a lot of them, you know, what they actually received, and it was like, today it would cost you more to mail the damn letter, you know. This is his registration card when he registered for the draft for World War II. Now, oddly, that's in the hospital. My grandmother signed for his treatment. Sheesh, that looks like my signature. I didn't exist yet, but it looks like my signature nonetheless. Okay. Okay, here's his draft registration. 5 feet 4.5, 170 pounds. He had gray eyes, brown and gray hair, and a light complexion. Scar on middle finger, right hand, inside of his hand. So it would be in here. And it's stamped by the board. This is the other page. Now, oddly, on his, I have to show you this because this is weird. He had scratched off his sister's address and put my grandmother's address in Manchog instead, and I don't know why. I don't know if he was just moving or what was going on, but if you look at it, the date, let's get the date on this thing. What is the date on this thing? Okay. I'm looking for the date on this piece of paper, and I'm not seeing it. No, that's his birth date. And all men born on or after February 17th, 1897, had to sign up for the World War II draft. I do not see a date on this. But he's 41 years old, so, and he married my grandmother in 1941, before he turned 41. Okay, this is his discharge. This is his DD-14, as they call it. Date 5/6/51. That is not when he was discharged. Here we go. He went in 10/14/42 and was discharged 3/2/43, honorably. Went into Texas. Now it says he lives on Baysette Street. Private TRB 5th Cavalry. June 25th, 1951. Huh. Unit 7 VA subunit. Medical records, dental records. They even have my grandfather's glasses prescription. But it actually shows his eyesight, which I'm assuming is with glasses and without. He was 20/20 with glasses. The dude was pretty well blind without them, at least in one eye. And then he has the three boys, of course, listed on this paper, because this must have been when he went in to try to get his what do you call it, pension. To whom married? Do you live together? Yes. But it says to whom married. DNA does not apply. Why does it not apply? And then it says, yes, you're married and living together. So, okay, that doesn't make sense. Is your father dependent on you for support? Is your mother dependent on you for support? No and no. Well, at the time that this paper was filled out by my grandfather, both of his parents were deceased. So, then it was my dad, Uncle David, and Uncle Richard. Do you claim to be totally disabled? Yes. Name and address of employer. You know, I find it interesting. Like, in the year 1954 as a janitor, in total, in the year 1954 as a janitor, he made $2,000. But if you look at what he made, let's see, this is 1957, okay? In 9 months, he made $1,872 in 1957. That's a lot of money. In 3 weeks, he made a whopping $504 in 1957. Working for himself, he only made $60. That's still decent. The problem being, I think the reason he could have supported his family on that easily back then. Unfortunately, I think he drank it. That's the unfortunate part. I wonder if my father ever knew how much money his father was really bringing in. Not steadily, mind you, because he worked. And I realized that by this time my grandfather was 57 years old and not doing well as far as his arthritis and whatnot. So he was doing the best he could do. And I think he worked a lot more than my father realized. Picking up bobbins. Okay, so that was in a mill. J.J. O'Donnell, Farnhamsville, Mass., a laborer, and then self-employed at odd jobs. Plus, I know my grandfather ran the dump in Manjog. I know that he worked at a laundry. When he first got out of the service, he worked at a laundry. So he had a lot of jobs. It wasn't that the man didn't work. This is the enlistment record, and interestingly, you might find on the enlistment record a fingerprint. That's a thumbprint. It says print of right thumb. veteran's application for compensation. This is his application to get help. Medical treatment from the Veterans Administration. Yes. Hospitalization or domiciliary care. In other words, in home. Your domicile, your home. Central arthritis since 1949 and high blood pressure. With a question mark. And he always had to, and he didn't know where the divorce happened from Dorothy. It's funny, he always had to include her on his paperwork. Application for burial allowance for the military. Okay. This is something that you might get. Basically, the spouse or the child will apply, depending on who's alive, through the funeral home in order to get the funeral paid for, which it should be. And his was total expense of burial $600, amount unpaid $600. Have bills been paid in full? No. And then, was any amount to be allowed on expenses of state or federal agency? Yes, $255 from the Social Security Administration. Was the veteran a member of a burial? No. So yeah. My grandmother was living in a freaking nursing home, so. Gerald E. Jackman. That's the father of the guy that buried my parents. This is a copy of his discharge. I have the original one. It's in black and it's shiny. The Army of the United States, as a testimonial of honest and faithful service, is hereby honorably discharged from the service. Hazel eyes, gray hair. Now he's 5 feet 5 inches tall. Goodness gracious. And that's, and I want to show you the difference. Now, his brother, on the other hand, spent way more time in than he did, so there's way more information. And there are lots of letters. Oh my God. Her annual income exceeds. Your application for death benefits has been carefully considered on the basis of all evidence. And denied. Seriously? Family unusual medical expenses. Yikes! Oh my God. That's really sad when you think about it. She wrote a letter to them. It was a beautiful letter. She said, my husband died just as short as in service to his country, just as sure as if he had never come home. I mean, it was really sad. My mother and I just cried reading it. The cell stapled together. This is, what is it? Because he was also in the Veterans Hospital for quite a significant time. before his passing. So there's a lot of that stuff. Huh. Okay. The Board of Veterans Appeals wanted a copy of the autopsy report. Well, the autopsy report was a pretty sad state of affairs, I'll tell you that much. James died of cancer that was everywhere. He complained for the longest time that something was going on. He said, I have this bump in my belly and I can push it back in. That's called a hernia. And if they had gone in to fix that, they might have found the tumor earlier. Basically, the tumor was throughout his abdomen. It was horrendous. It was what doctors, I don't know if they still call it this or not, but what they used to call peek and shriek. And the reason they call it that is if they open you up and you've got a bunch of cancer, it's going to spread like wildfire because it got a hold of oxygen. So they call it peek and shriek. Because they know they've just killed you. You know, certain cancers. And but it turned out his autopsy was the peek and shriek. That's in here too. It's alarming, to say the least, how the military treated him. You know, it's sad and disturbing, and like I said, alarming. And you never know. There could be someone in your family with a record like this, you know, of how they treated him. And I know there's more pages than this. My grandfather, my mother's natural father, we have all his hospital records. So you would be amazed. We were amazed at the pile of records that showed up. It's at least this high. At least this high. I'll show you. I'm going to put these back and then I'll show you. Go in first. Yes. James, you go back there. Thanks. Okay. Grandpa. One of these has some of the stuff in it. Oh, not that. That's James. One of these has some of the stuff in it. That's Clarabelle. Clarabelle was put in the mental hospital. Oh, I know what that is. That's not. That's right here. This is one book of it. This is one book of it. One book. There's more than one book. Trust me on that. There's two books. And this might be. No, I don't think so. Nope. That's Thomas Gates, and I know there's more of that too. He wasn't in the military. My grandfather, however, was. Alright, where is the rest of my grandfather's stuff? Huh. It's here somewhere. Anyway. Is this it? Yep. This is the other part. Look at that. So, you never know. I have to clean this and a job I will do. Probably next. Because I really want to make sense of this mess. See if I can declutter it a little bit. Maybe get rid of some stuff. So that'll be our next video. But anyway, guys, thank you for joining me. And I hope you learned something about military records. I will post a whoopsie. I will post a link to how to get your military records. Your grandpa's military records, your dad's military records. Because you can get them. Like I said, I'll post the link. So, this is my next job. Whew. And I'll see you for that video. My head hurts. Thank you so much for joining me. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Please click subscribe. Bye, guys.